For someone who knows little about physics, it is hard to imagine how deep is the understanding of the laws of nature by physics today, and what a fantastic picture that understanding has revealed.
All of this changed. All of a sudden, the technology became real. The ambitions became real.
I can come to work in the morning, have nothing to begin with, just a pencil, and by evening I will have a device that works.
Well, we are the people who invent the future.
The important thing is not what you got, but the knowledge that came to you and broadened your horizons completely.
I think nature's imagination is so much greater than man's, she's never gonna let us relax.
The summer of 2022 in Moscow. The temperature is plus 30 to 35 all the time. Weather forecasters are saying that people living in Russia and in Europe need to get ready for abnormal summer heat in the next 10 to 20 years. What is the cause of these climate changes? And how can we see the bigger picture? 20 years, it's a quarter of an average human life today, almost a generation in terms of social studies, but only a small period on the historic scale. What has it been like for the modern technology world over the past 20 years? How can we make energy affordable and safe? Is it possible for any country to do it alone, or does the international community have to work in concert? And, the most important thing, are we ourselves aware of the speed of the changes that have taken place over the past 20 years? The beginning of the 2000s, the internet is invading the lives of millions of people. Communication is becoming easier and faster. Cars and home appliances more affordable. Asia and other regions are seeing an industrial boom. 20 years later, the World Meteorological Organization will call the 2000s the warmest in the history of meteorological observations. In the early 2000s, the world was entering a period of high commodity prices. In 2002, the annual average oil price was $33 a barrel. 1,000 cubic meters of gas cost $144. An explosive growth in electric car sales was not even in the making. And, unbelievable but true, there was talk of a golden age of coal. From 200 to 2013, coal demand saw a bigger surge than in the previous 35 years. Asia was the driver for the spike. Europe, on the other hand, was relying on a rapid growth of biofuels, as well as solar and wind generation. At the dawn of the third millennium, innovators in science were still searching for the formula of ideal energy of the future. They were looking for ways to make the use of hydrocarbons more environmentally friendly and unconventional energy more reliable. In 2002, politicians, along with scientists, were also discussing energy of the future at an EU-Russia summit. And it was there that the establishment of the Global Energy Prize to support scientific research was first announced 20 years ago.
We in Russia have decided to establish the Global Energy Prize, an international award for outstanding fundamental and applied scientific discoveries and inventions in the field of energy.
I have here artifacts from 20 years ago. In 2002, flip cell phones like this one, made by Nokia, Motorola, or Pantech, were very popular. By the way, this phone still works. Over the past 20 years, the cell phone technology has made enormous stride forward, but what's interesting is that both these models and modern phones use nearly the same batteries. Here it is, the lithium-ion battery, and here is the battery of a modern phone. The operating principle is the same. The only difference is that battery capacity has grown multiple times over the past 20 years. It is now the most popular type of battery, and it is also used in laptop computers, cameras, camcorders, modern household appliances. In 2019, Akira Yoshino of Japan was among those who won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for developing these lithium-ion batteries. But 6 years before that, Akira Yoshino's achievements and the potential of his research had been recognized by Global Energy Prize International Award Committee, an independent organization. The scientist from Japan became the 2013 Global Energy Prize laureate. To stimulate development of the energy industry through scientific research, to understand and anticipate before anyone else where the industry is heading, and to foresee what will become an integral part of our everyday life in 5 or 10 or 20 years. This is the mission performed every year by the members of the International Award Committee, who select works the best experts in 3 categories: traditional energy, non-traditional energy, and new ways of energy application.
One of the most important achievements of the Global Energy Prize to me is that very sound and firm establishment of scientific independence and neutrality and a clear direction for its own strategy. I think now the Global Energy Prize has firmly established itself as one of the leading award for energy scientific breakthrough in the whole world.
Since the first prize was awarded in 2003, 48 scientists from 15 countries have become laureates. These were experts from Australia, Austria, Canada, Denmark, France, Greece, Iceland, Italy, Japan, Russia, Sweden, Switzerland, the UK, Ukraine, and the United States. And the list of nominees counts several hundreds of names. In Russia, support for innovation, scientific and technical work in the industry is enshrined at the state level in the country's energy strategy.
The Global Energy Prize is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, and its popularity is steadily growing. Issues related to supplying the planet's inhabitants with reliable and affordable energy sources will remain relevant for decades to come. That is why we need to take joint action, uniting efforts of different countries in the scientific field for the benefit of the entire industry. In this context, it is important that the Global Energy Prize has an international status. It is a scientific prize outside of politics.
In this Jubilee year for the award, despite the fallout of the coronavirus pandemic and changes occurring worldwide, the Global Energy Prize received a record number of nominations in its history, 190 nominations from 43 countries. The geography is also expanding. Nominations are increasingly coming from emerging countries of Asia, Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East. Every year, the functions of the prize operator are sponsored by the co-founders of the Global Energy Association, Gazprom, Rossiti and Surgutneftegaz. They also foot the annual prize fund of 39 million rubles and back traditional and special global energy projects.
I think that global energy, and maybe one of the main functions of the association, in addition to the prize and so on, is to establish this dialogue between scientific communities, between some groups that are involved in technological innovation. So, including those from emerging countries, including, yes, from those regions, and of course the potential that, as you said, Asia and Africa and Latin America and the Middle East have is huge.
Another basis for discussing promising scientific research areas has been the association's annual report 10 Breakthrough Ideas in Energy for the next 10 years.
We suggest that all our authors write from a scientific point of view, but in such a way that this report could be interesting for investors to read. It is no coincidence that we present it every time at the energy session of the St. Petersburg Economic Forum.
Let us have a look at what the authors of the report anticipate in the next decade. low-carbon ammonia-based fuels could find commercial application, possibly becoming an effective complement to fuel oil or liquefied natural gas in marine vessels. Closed-cycle nuclear technologies could make reuse of nuclear fuel possible. Perovskite photovoltaic cells could bring about qualitative improvement of the efficiency of solar panels. Meanwhile, global demand for affordable and reliable conventional energy sources will continue to grow. So the plan for the decade is to improve safety and efficiency of hydrocarbon energy. But of course, these are by no means all the ideas that could be listed. For instance, scientists are predicting a vigorous transition to the use of electric cars. Moreover, they're calling it imperative. And right now I suggest taking a ride in an electric car around Moscow and talking behind the wheel of an electric car about the work of scientists who have made it possible for electric cars to drive on the roads of modern cities. And while we're driving to a power station, I have time to tell you about two other Global Energy Prize laureates who have made a contribution to energy conservation, preservation of the environment, and climate protection. First, Thorstein Ingi Sigfusson, the laureate from Iceland, and his homeland has largely determined the vector of his scientific research. The Global Energy Prize International Award Committee acknowledged his achievements in the use of low-temperature geothermal reserves for electric power and heat generation. The second scientist is Philip Rutberg from Russia. It's a pleasure to mention this fact. He was the 2011 laureate and worked on green waste management. Why does it matter? Usually garbage is burned at temperatures of 800 to 1000 degrees Celsius, releasing harmful substances such as furans, dioxins, carbon dioxide. Philip Rutberg suggested using plasma technology, plasma chemical processes to dispose of garbage. In other words, garbage is processed at temperatures from 2000 to 6000 degrees Celsius, depending on the purpose, on the types, and on what we want to end up with. As a result, there is no combustion, no oxygen supply, and as a result, no emission of harmful substances into the air. But back to electric cars now. Today they can cover 300 to 400 kilometers without recharging, quite enough even for out-of-town trips, and there are more and more recharging stations. But if we talk about ambitious goals for the next decade, perhaps we should try and make sure that power stations could be found in Russia no less frequently than traditional gas stations. Here we are just coming to an electric vehicle charging station. On a fast charge, it takes this car 40 minutes to be charged, and on a slow charge, it would take 25 hours. Scientists all over the world are working now on ways to speed up the charging time of electric vehicles. In particular, Halil Amin, a Global Energy Prize laureate, is working on this problem. He is the 2019 laureate. The International Committee awarded his achievements in improving battery systems for electric cars. But even more often than we charge an electric car, we use plastic cards, discount cards, bank cards every day, sometimes. Thank you. Even every hour. And when we pay with cards, we don't even think that all this was made possible due to inventions of Boris Alfurov, another Global Energy Prize and Nobel Prize laureate. It was he who developed semiconductors and semiconductor devices that found application precisely in plastic card technology. The heterostructures developed by Boris Alfurov are used to transmit signals via an optical fiber to read barcodes. They are elements of an ultra-high frequency signal amplifier, without which cellular communication is impossible. They are also used in solar cells, from the smallest ones in street lamps to huge ones on space stations. The solutions of the prize laureates are also used in many other areas. For example, the nuclear industry has benefited from the contribution of Viktor Orlov from Russia, the 2022 laureate. He was acclaimed for theoretical foundations and discoveries that helped create the first reactors for nuclear power plants and nuclear submarines. And Carlo Robbia from Italy received the prize 2 years ago for the promotion of sustainability of energy use in the context of nuclear waste management. In the field of solar energy, Martin Green from Australia was awarded in 2018 for his solutions that increase efficiency of solar cells, and Michael Gratzel from Switzerland had received the prize a year earlier for his Gratzel cell, which increased energy efficiency of solar panels by 22%. In the field of space technology, 3 Russians became laureates at once. Vladimir Fortov was awarded in 2013 for the development of scientific principles of spacecraft protection as part of the Vega International Project. Boris Katorgin had received the prize a year before for high-performance liquid propellant rocket engines with Kraken fuel. For example, the world-famous UD-180 engine. Oleg Favorsky was awarded in 2008 for creating several gas turbine and shaft turbine engines for aviation and space applications. Achievements in the development of power grids and energy-efficient lighting were also recognized as worthy of the awards. Shuji Nakamura of Japan was awarded in 2015 for the creation of blue and consequently white LED lighting. Nikolas Katsiagiru from Greece received an award in 2020 for the development of smart power grids and microgrids using artificial intelligence. And in 2003, when the Global Energy Prize was awarded for the first time, Nick Koloniak from the US received the award for the first semiconductor LEDs in the visible region of the light spectrum. Kaushik Rajashekara, the laureate of the Jubilee Year 2022, discusses the importance of scientists working together.
Always it is better to work as a team. Now the information is very easy to flow from one place to other place. So you cannot work in isolation. So it is always better to improve and advance the technologies when the researchers from different countries, they work together. So instead of one person working for 400 years, I would rather ask 400 people work for 1 year.
One of the main challenges that global energy has faced in the last 3 years is the coronavirus pandemic. We asked the president of the association, Dr. Sergei Brylyev, about the first steps after restrictions were lifted.
We have switched to a field format. The prize has an international status, but it needs to be brought to various Russian regions. So for the first time we held this kind of announcement ceremony at the Cosmonautics Museum in Kaluga. That was the premiere of a new format. The following year we were in Kazan, at the City Hall, where Rustam Minihanov, the head of the Republic, helped us a lot. And last year we went to Khanty-Mansisk. And the good thing is that the pandemic restrictions have been lifted, making things easier now, a little. But new problems emerged. At least the pandemic is over, and thanks to Governor Natalia Komarova we were able to hold a proper ceremony in Khanty-Mansisk where we had guests from abroad. And in addition to the colorful but formal function, we also went to the swamps, where scientists study CO2 and methane emissions from those swamps to the atmosphere, in the context of global warming, for instance, and come to all kinds of interesting conclusions.
Actually, I'm very excited to be here because this kind of project is exactly what we need for collaboration for the type of projects I'm doing in Southeast Asia. So for example, I'm doing a project right now in Indonesia, which is examining the peatland in Indonesia. And for here to see the peatland and the other facilities, and especially the data that they've gathered in the 5 years of operation is very useful.
In this context, cessation of scientific cooperation and international ties might have global repercussions for all of humanity. Hurricanes and floods, wildfires occurring even in places where they have never been seen before, catastrophic drought and frost. Nature sounds the alarm every year. A good example was last winter, when winter fires in the state of Texas froze and a blackout happened. And certainly no one would have thought that progressive-thinking Europeans on their own initiative would reopen the coal mines ahead of the winter of 2023 and begin to stock up on firewood and fuel oil. This situation has once again exposed key problems for global industry: dependence on stable and affordable energy, a rapid growth of energy consumption, and relevance, even in the third millennium, of traditional energy sources.
Talking about the near future, maybe 10, 20, 30 years, I do not think there will be any major changes. I think that the world is unlikely to give up traditional energy sources. Of course, technological progress is unstoppable. We understand that renewable energy sources are seeing a very strong development, despite, by the way, their inherent problems. We understand that they imply high production costs, and disposal of equipment is also a problem. But nonetheless, we will certainly be moving in that direction. What is definitely going to happen is an increase in energy consumption. Because here, of course, the first factor is at play, the growth of world population, which won't stop. And the second factor is technological advance.
Those on whom this advance directly depends are also in the focus of the Global Energy Association. They are given lectures by members of the International Committee and the prize laureates. When Igor Lobovsky was at the helm in the association, there were the Energy of Youth and the Energy of Breakthrough programs. Now they have been replaced by a special project, Young Scientist 4.0. In the past 2 years, it has been implemented in cooperation with Gazprom.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to great scientists, to really have this experience. It was unforgettable, and I think will be of great use in my future work.
As the main prize, the finalists of the program get an opportunity to publish a chapter in the report 10 Breakthrough Ideas in Energy for the next 10 years alongside renowned scientists.
The modern trend of science and technology development today requires from us not only efforts in scientific and production activities, but also mandates that we fulfill the state's targets in the field of import substitution and import exclusion. And today it is just what directly boosts the development of domestic science and technology.
This is academician Viktor Maslov, known for his work in the field of electric power engineering. He was the first person to receive an honorary diploma of the association, which was established in 2020 for Russian scientists working in the industry. In 2021, academician Igor Grekov received this diploma. The award is given in December, ahead of the Russian Power Engineers Day and the New Year, and is accompanied by a cash prize of 1 million rubles. The association also continues to develop its network of partners. For example, in this Jubilee year, an investigative documentary titled The Global War Test was co-produced with Rusgidro, one of Russia's largest power generating companies. The principal shooting and the scientific experiments for this film took place in Russia, Brazil, and the United Arab Emirates. By the way, earlier small nuclear power plants were presented in Dubai together with Rosatom's senior executives. This is a project with good prospects, and it is already much in demand in a number of regions around the world. And for the first time, a joint report of the Global Energy Association and the Eurasian Development Bank was released. It concerns the use of green technology for sustainable development in Eurasia. Plans for the immediate future include a series of scientific, media, and public events to be co-sponsored with existing and potential partners.
I think the technology has to play a very important role, and this Global Energy Prize has been already promoting and recognizing the most important breakthroughs in the technological innovations for energy system. And this is the reason the Global Energy Prize's work in the future will be getting more and more important for the survival. Very high position in the world, but now we should work together to make it clear that.
I am convinced that at the next stage of its development, the prize will be awarded to experts whose talent will make it possible to improve energy efficiency of already known energy sources, and to discover new ones. That means making life of millions of people on the planet more comfortable. I congratulate the Global Energy Prize on its 20th anniversary. I wish the association which performs the functions of the prize operator continued success in all its projects and endeavors.
The year 202 and the year 2022, the things that have happened over these 20 years, natural disasters, financial crises, pandemics. But what remains unchanged is the need for a dialogue, primarily between scientific communities of different countries. This is the mission and the main objective of the Global Energy Association. Efficient and reliable energy resources, a stable energy balance, the climate. All these are issues of our common future, and all this is beyond borders and beyond time.